Hi artists, it's Miss Coon, and today we're going to do a cacti still life. I think you know what a cactus is. That's when there's just one. Cacti is when there's more than one, so you know that we're going to draw more than one cactus. Our new art terms for today are going to be organic and geometric, and our I can statement is I can elaborate on an individual or prompted idea. So let's talk about our new art terms. Organic shapes are shapes that look natural. They're typically irregular or asymmetrical. They're associated with things found in nature like plants, clouds, or a splash of water. Geometric shapes are usually made by humans. They include shapes like circles, squares, and triangles. They have clear lines with perfect unity and don't often appear in nature. A cactus is an organic shape. It's a shape that you find in nature. It's usually asymmetrical and doesn't have a line of symmetry. Flower pots and vases are typically geometric shapes. They have a line of symmetry, and these have geometric patterns on them. If you look closely, you can see squares and triangles and rectangles. Our goal for our still life picture today is to have an organic shape growing from a geometric shaped flower pot. And here's another photo that you can reference for ideas. There are several different geometric shapes that are decorating the flower pots and the organic shapes for the cacti that are growing from the pot. Okay, for our project today, you need a white piece of paper, some construction paper, your pencil, Sharpie, and watercolor paints and crayons for sure. You have optional that you can use your scissors and glue. You can also use your markers if you would like to, and you will need your water cup and your paintbrush. You'll have a lot of choice on this one. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is just to remind you when we're making our flower pots that we're using a geometric shape. It's a man-made shape, and it usually has a line of symmetry. So one nice way that you could do that is to fold your construction paper in half and treat the folded side as your line of symmetry, and you can draw your vase. And you could do any shape that you wanted. And then when I cut this shape out, following my line and keeping my paper folded, I'll have a line of symmetry, and I could glue this directly onto my paper and use my construction paper, or if I didn't want to glue the construction paper on, I could trace around it and get that same shape on my paper. I'm going to make two more shapes. So I've cut out my shapes for my flower pots. I'm going to use my markers to add geometric shapes, but I'm going to go ahead and decide where on my paper my flower pots are going to go. And you can layer them a little bit with some in front and some in back. And I'm not going to glue them on until the very end, but I do want to draw a line where the vase opens, so I know where my cactus will go later. And I'm going to put this to the side, and I am going to use markers, you're welcome to use crayons if you would like, to add geometric shapes to my vase. So I've added my geometric shapes in a pattern on my flower pots, and I'm going to put all of these to the side for a second and get my white sheet of paper for my background back. Remember, I marked on my paper where I'm going to place the flower pots, and I'm just going to move them down and put them to the side for a little bit, and I'm going to work on my organic shapes for my cactus that are coming out of the vase, and pretty much any shape that you come up with will work just fine. So I'm going to do a big arch coming up, and then little curved arches on the side, and they don't have to be symmetrical because this is organic. Okay, I could do on this side, let's see, I'm going to do the small kind of like ovally ones that are like lumped together. And this one's going to have a little flower shape on the top. And the fun thing about this is they don't have to be balanced. You're just drawing from your imagination. And then this one, I'll do a big one with a little bump on the side, and I'll have a flower shape on this one and one right here. I do need to add some little spikes on them, and if you want to draw kind of like the little sections, you can. They're kind of like a basketball, kind of curves away from the center. So I might need one more little flower. Okay, and I'll go in and add a few little spikes. Okay. Once you finish drawing your cactus, you're going to go ahead and outline it with Sharpie, and I think I'm going to add some more of my spikes when I do my Sharpie step. Okay, the next step, I'm going to use some crayon to color the cactus. I'm not going to worry about the background yet. I chose a couple of different values of green, and I chose kind of a reddish pink for my flowers. So I'm going to get started coloring. My next step, after I've added the crayon step, and I used a couple of different values of green and a little bit of pink, I did press down, put a lot of pressure on my crayon to get a nice bold color. I'm going to skip down a little bit and draw a horizontal line that goes across. That's going to be where my table is that my vases are sitting on. And you might just want to just double check that it's high enough that they all fit. And I'm still going to keep these to the side. Now I'm going to use this line as my stopping point, and I'm going to paint the sky that's behind my cacti in the background, and I'm going to use sunset colors. So I'm going to use warm colors. I'm going to use red, orange, and yellow. I'm not going to worry about the things below the line yet. Remember, if you haven't used your watercolor set today, you need to wet your brush and drop just a little bit of water in the colors that you're planning to use to wake those colors up. We don't want to dig in our paint set and waste our paint, and when we touch it, we're just going to touch it with the tip. Don't press your brush down, just a little touch of paint. So I'm going to get started painting my sunset. Okay, for a moment it's going to look like your cacti are floating and your sunset is going behind them. I do want to go all the way down to my horizon line, even in the spaces that I know are going to be hidden. That way I just don't miss a spot. It's best if you let your colors blend together while they're still wet, so I did it in small sections of my yellow, and while the yellow is still wet, orange, and then the red, and then I worked my way across the paper. My next step, I want to use my markers, and I'm going to work below this line with a brown and draw a line that comes straight down. This is a washable marker, and I'm going to draw diagonal lines that go to the left on this side, keeping my lines really, really close together. Your marker tip is triangle shaped, and if you're using the very big point, it's drawing a skinny line. If you're using the side of your triangle, it's going to draw a nice thick line. So I'll go to one side and then the other side, keeping the lines close together, and they're sliding away from the center. Okay, this is going to be a wooden picnic table surface, so I'm going to use just water and my wet brush, and I'm going to go over those marker colors, and it's going to blend and spread out that washable marker color and fill in that space. So it gives a light value of brown and a darker value of brown. And I'm going to speed this up just a second. Okay, now possibly the hardest step in this whole project is waiting for the water from your marker to dry and your paint to dry, because you don't want to glue your flower pots on too soon because there's washable marker on your flower pot and you don't want that to bleed. But when this is pretty dry and it feels dry to the touch, you're going to flip over on the back, and you need to start with the vase that's going to be in the background. It needs to go first, and you're going to do just a dot, not a lot, just some dots of glue, and line it up on your pencil line that you drew earlier. I don't remember which one was going to go where. Maybe it doesn't matter. So just a dot, not a lot. This one's in my foreground, it's in the front, so it overlaps. Just a dot, not a lot. And this one overlaps in my foreground. And now I have flower pots with geometric shapes and organic shaped cacti that are growing from my flower vase. I hope you enjoyed this project. I can't wait to see what you create. You can post pictures of your art in the comments below this video, or you can email them to Miss Kuhn at amkuhn@auburnschools.org. Thanks. Bye.